Hey guys, welcome back to Choosing Recovery. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Scott A.
And today we have a great story from Dakota.
Yep.
So let's go.
Yo. Yeah, what was your drug of choice or choices if you had multiple?
Well, in the end, it was pretty much anything that I could get my hands on. But like, I identify as a heroin addict, but at the end, pretty much it was anything that I could get my hands on, anything that I could put in my arm.
Absolutely.
So,
I was the same way too. I was a garbage head for sure.
Oh my God.
yeah.
What was your age that you started using that?
Well, the first time I picked up a substance was probably like 12. But I didn't pick up my drug of choice until I was like 22 or 23.
Yeah.
A lot of people we've interviewed on here, the 12 has been the number. You know, like me, it's been the number. It's, you know, it just shows like the common pattern of.
I just did like more research into it, and I think they did like a study of like 25 years or something crazy, and they said the average year for children or teenagers to start using was 13 years old, and I was like, wow, we can so relate because everyone's like 12. You know? Yeah. It's like the time you get your foot out the door.
Or my son's 10, and I'm trying to picture in 3 years him picking up a substance, and I like close.
Oh my goodness, yes. Wow, and it is so young. It's that time, like, I think especially for, like, our generation, like, we were able to still go out, you know, and go drive around or whatever and do a bunch of stuff. I think it's that time you get the foot out the door, you know, a little more leeway. Yeah.
Like, we had to come in when the street lights came on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that from super young.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
How long have you used for?
Well, I feel like my life started to get really unmanageable, like, when I was probably like 20, and I hadn't picked up my drug of choice yet, but like, my life was already getting unmanageable from it, and so it was about 10 years before, 8 years, I guess, that my life was really crazy before I actually decided to get and stay clean and sober.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it definitely wasn't my first time trying.
Absolutely.
Who did your addiction affect?
It definitely affected everyone. In the end, it affected my children. Like, it affected my whole family, and I was one of those people that was like, who am I hurting besides me? And it took me a really long time, even after I got sober, to realize, like, I realized it affected my children, but I didn't realize the effect it had on, like, my other immediate family members, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my brothers. Like, I didn't realize that, like, I don't think that I had convinced myself that they cared enough to have it affect them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think it's very common for everybody, and especially active addiction. We're so caught up in way more important things we think at the time, you know, to even realize what we've even really done to ourselves, and let alone other people around us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what led you to get clean?
I think that basically I had tried over and over again, but every other time I had tried, it was because, like, the probation officer had told me I had to, or my mom had told me I had to, or other people had told me that my life was crazy, and it never worked because I didn't really want it to work. And the last run that I went on, basically there was no more convincing myself that I was managing my life, because I lost my place to live, I lost my car, I lost my children, I lost, like, everything, and there was no more, like, illusion of convincing myself that I was managing my life. And so I finally hit a place of pain where, like, I wanted to be happy again, and so I either was gonna like end my life, or I was gonna end the way that I was living and find a different way.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How are you staying clean today?
So I go to meetings, and I actually started a meeting on my own, like during the whole COVID.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Me and my roommate started a fireside meeting at the time, and so we started a fireside meeting outside of our house because we watched a lot of the people we care about go back out. We watched a lot of people around us go back out just because of the lack of meetings.
Yeah.
So we started our own in our yard around a fire pit, and
Oh,
that's awesome.
yeah, so that was really cool. And I work in recovery now in the past like couple months, so that really helps me a lot, because even though I'm not to a place in my step work where I'm sponsoring people yet, I feel like I can still get back and help people that way, and I feel like that helps me more than they can realize.
Absolutely.
That's so inspiring. We actually, our area is so like limited with that, and we even said that like a lot of, like there was a couple people that went back out, and we were like, oh my goodness, like if COVID, you know, it's not, you can use any excuse, but we're like, wow, I don't think they would have relapsed if this didn't happen, you know, and it was just really hard.
Especially for people that are extremely early in recovery. When you take away their support network, you know, that's why I say it in a lot of our videos, you got to build like a lot of these different barriers, like people that you can call, you know, coping mechanisms, family support, a bunch of stuff, you know, literature. You know, you have to have so many things in between you and your addiction. And for these people that are so early in recovery, like they don't necessarily have that yet. So they're so much more vulnerable, you know.
And like I happen to be blessed. Like I live in a very recovery heavy area. There's quite a few rehab here, a lot of sober living here, and it's one of the reasons why I moved here when I got sober, which is like an hour and a half away from where I'm from.
Awesome.
And so I happen to be blessed because there's a lot of recovery here, but a lot of people struggle because all of our meetings that are usually held in churches shut down.
Yeah.
So
that's incredible that you saw a need for your recovery community and you put yourself out there and you made something happen. You know, that's so supportive and inspiring to be able to be like, okay, there's a lack right now. What can I do to put into helping where I used to be? You know, like we're all there at one point. That's incredible.
Right. Like I can't even take like full credit. Like my roommate was like the pusher in the beginning, like we should do this, we should do this. But like once I saw like the faces that came in those first few weeks of that meeting, and like I just knew that we were doing something that we needed to be doing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What's your biggest accomplishment in your recovery?
Well, like having a relationship with my children again is huge, and like I don't have them full time yet already because of COVID and stuff. Like it slowed everything down, but I get to have both of them, and like working in recovery was huge for me because I worked in kitchens for my whole active using and a lot of my recovery up until then. And kitchens can be a place that's really, really hard to stay sober off of all substances. And I think that getting out of that was really important for like my serenity and my peace of mind. And yeah, I think that that's a huge accomplishment. And in the end of my using, I was homeless and stuff. So like the fact that I have my own apartment and I have a car to drive and I have like everything that I need, maybe not necessarily everything that I want, but everything that I need is pretty huge.
That's incredible.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I remember feeling like having a bed, you know, because my story is a little bit similar to you. And I woke up and I think I had like a drug dream and I was like petrified that I was like in some abandoned house, right? And I woke up and I was like, what? Like I was so scared and I was like, whoa, wait, I bawled my eyes out. I was like, this is incredible, you know, and that's what pushes you forward, is you can see what you're capable of doing for yourself. You know, like, you did all that. You got yourself to where you are today from absolutely nothing. That's inspiring. That's awesome.
It is. If you could say something to someone that's still in active addiction or still using today, what would you say?
I would tell them that there's always hope, because, like, when I go back to my hometown, like, I'm one of the people that people thought would never make it. Like, I'm one of the people that you expected to see my obituary somewhere, and like, I managed to get out of that life. And
yeah, if you could say something. Are you ready, Olivia?
Yeah, but you were out of the frame. All right, go ahead.
Is it a fat joke? If you could say something, to a family member of an addict, what would you say?
That sometimes it's okay to welcome that existence.
Yes.
Because I feel like I needed that first Christmas that my mom told me she didn't want me to come.
Oh.
You know, like, I think sometimes, like, we enable the people that we love that are using to death.
Absolutely.
Wow, yeah.
And I think that sometimes you gotta love them at a distance and let them hit their rock bottom the way that they have to in order for them to get help.
Absolutely. It's the harsh reality of life, you know. My mom enabled the shit out of me, and she didn't know. She just thought she was taking care of me, and it saved my life when she wouldn't answer my phone calls, when she wouldn't, you know, give me money, when she wouldn't give me rides, when she completely erased me from her mind temporarily, you know. Like, even like my probation officer told her to do that and things like that, and she listened, and
they're not gonna do that until they're ready to be.
Absolutely. Loneliness sucks. You have to be at your deepest, lowest point. Like you said, like, with everyone, like, I've been to like 8 rehabs, and I didn't stay clean, you know, and then I finally made a choice to myself that I'm going to stay clean for myself, you know, whether not for my mother, not for probation, not for drug court, not for to stay out of jail. Like, it's like, I thought I wasted so much time in my life because of how long I've been using, when I finally got to realize the bigger picture that I still have so much more life to live, and forget about my past and move on to my future and take care of myself, you know, and then I could actually have a life. That's when it got to the point where I knew, like, I need to take this opportunity now, or I'm not gonna have it much longer, because I'm gonna be 6 feet under soon.
Right. You know? I mean, that last time in treatment, even, like, it felt different.
Yeah,
I wanted
absolutely.
To be there, and I made the decision to be there rather than being pushed there by somebody else.
Absolutely.
And I just got so much more out of it that way.
So
I feel like a lot of the time the stigma of us is like that we all came from these horrible backgrounds. We all came from this like horrible place, and like I was raised in like a great family, and I think that you see it a lot more now. But like as far as like the media and like the big picture, like they all think we came from these horrible places, and that just wasn't my story. And I think that it's important for people to realize that like we come from all walks of life, and like I've seen people doing the same drugs with me back then as they were still in their business suits from their 8-4 job, you know what I mean? And I think that it's important to realize too that like we all get better if we want to get better. And you know, growing up, like I think we all have similar feelings of like not being good enough or like not fitting in, whatever. But like realizing that that was all part of our like our mindset and like the belief that we have, and that like even now, like my mind will tell me a million different things about how I'm not good enough, and I'm a million miles from where I was. And yeah, I just, like, if I could talk to the next generation and be like, a drug dealer's not going to tell you that detox feels like every bone in your body breaking, because, like, I think that preventative action for the next generation is really important, and I feel like we try to shield our children from the reality of it, but I think the reality of it can help prevent it from being as bad as it got.
Absolutely.
It's crazy that they don't really like teach it in like high school. I don't know, I was thinking about that the other day, and I'm like, there's seriously no class talking about substance abuse and what the outcome could be. I remember I did like a DARE program like in like 6th grade. I wasn't even in middle school yet, and they're like, I dare you not to use drugs, and I'm like, I will never use drugs, you know. And then I was like, but they didn't like, yeah, I don't recall them talking about like,
all I remember DARE was them giving me those drunk goggles, and I loved it. You know, it's like they made me want to drink when I was probably 12 years old. So I blame DARE. No, I'm joking. But really though, like we didn't have enough education in my time. I don't know what they're teaching now, but health class really or anything like that, there's not enough education on it. When, especially at that time period, you know, that is when, if you look at the statistics now, that is when most people are starting to use.
Yeah.
Is beginning years of high school.
So, like, they don't put awareness around like prescription drugs leading to
100%.
those really horrible drugs that like we all ended up doing. They don't put awareness around that. So it's not about like not listening to your doctor. It's about being aware of like what certain prescriptions can lead to if you use them ways that they don't tell you to.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah. Absolutely.
For like the kid that people thought was gonna end up the way that I was, and then by the time I was flashing up on WMUR, like it was already, like I came from kind of like a richy town. Like Walpole, New Hampshire is like the highest millionaires per capita, and then by the end, when they were all seeing me, I was flashing up on WMUR for like something the media had blown up. I got picked up on a probation violation, but it was the same day a bunch of drug dealers got picked up, and and so I got labeled that for a really long time, and by the time a couple of years later when I decided that I wanted to get better, I think that it was just too late. It's now taken me, I'll have 2 years in February, and it's now taken me that entire 2 years to convince people that like I'm actually doing this for real. And I think that it's really important, just the connections that I made in this little place in New Hampshire, and like now like I've been blessed, like I've made a lot of new connections on TikTok actually, as far as sober people in other states. Like if I were to travel, I don't think that I would have trouble finding somebody where I was traveling to.
Awesome.
To have sober connections, and I think it's just really important to just expand your network everywhere. And like it doesn't matter if I'll never meet 90% of these people. Like I know that I have connections all over the country to people that are doing what I'm doing, and that I think that that's super important. I could probably track on my own these days and still know people in recovery all over this country.
That's amazing. I love the network that the recovery community is, especially on TikTok. I think it's so cool.
Like I hate bringing up TikTok as a part of my recovery, but like this whole experience has been humbling and it's all hell. And like just having people like reach out to me there in those first few days, and realizing that I might actually have to give back to them, and like that was a really humbling, really like gratitude filling experience for me. Yeah, I'm Dakota. My sobriety date is February 7th, 2019, and I am grateful for love.
Awesome.